Our next guest under here, Rob Portman, is here. I understand why Americans are mad at Burger King for its deal with Canadian donut maker Tim Hortons. He says the anger is better directed at Washington and its refusal to fix America's broken and non-competitive tax system. Joining us, Ohio Senator Rob Portman. He serves on both the Finance and Budget committees. I'm still angry about the French fries and that smoky taste of the burgers, Rob, that for Burger King. For me, it's okay. I don't go there anyway. But okay, but you're going to fix this. You want to fix it through some type of a small reform rather than just the palliative solution of just disallowing companies to do it.
Hey, look, we've got to fix the tax code, and if we don't, Joe, we're never going to get at this problem. Let's take Burger King as an example. If we simply make it less competitive to be an American company by taking away some of the tax benefits for these companies, they're going to be targets for foreign takeovers, and they will begin to sell off some of their assets to foreign companies. So, you know, the solution here is really simple. The President has talked about it. Congress knows what we have to do. If Washington wasn't so broken, we would have fixed it already. But let's get busy. Let's lower the rate. Sam Zell just talked about it. Let's go to a competitive international system. We are one of the few countries in the world that actually taxes on a worldwide rather than a territorial basis. It makes no sense. You know, we're hurting the workers in America. That's what all the economic analysis shows. It's the rank and file workers that are getting hurt here. So the solution is obvious, and let's get busy and do it.
Private sector jobs, I don't know how many times. This is like we just said, Rob, the cloud is actually not a cloud. It's actually computers. We made that clear. Private sector jobs are created by corporations that operate in the private sector. I don't think that is obvious to at least half of this country at this point. And it would actually be better if those companies were more nimble and more able to compete globally right now. Wouldn't that be better domestically for more people getting hired? I mean, these things are okay.
Absolutely.
Rob, we're talking at each other.
So first of all,
you need a tourniquet now because there's not going to be any corporate taxes left because it takes 3 years to do what you want to do, and they'll all be gone by then. That's what the tourniquet people want to do.
That's where I am.
That's what the tourniquet people want.
Yeah, it doesn't take 3 years. You know, I've got a proposal. Others have proposals. We know what we have to do. Let's just get busy doing it. I mean, look, every time we come up with a tax reform idea, we say, well, it's going to take too long. Let's wait. You know, let's not wait. Let's do it. Everybody knows what has to be done.
Let's waste all our time talking about the tourniquet. We don't need to. Republicans won't pass the tourniquet. So instead of wasting time actually trying to do something, we're going to waste time just you know, pretending that the Democrats are going to pretend that they can pass a tourniquet, which they can't. Right?
Right. Well, look, and it's not just about the tax rate. It's true that Canada has a 15% tax rate. We got a 35% tax rate, really 39% when you add the states. So clearly, a company like Burger King looks at that and sees a big differential and sees an advantage to being in Canada. But it's about this international system, and it's about Sam's point and the point you just made about companies being able to deploy their assets where they want to, being able to move money around. I mean, if countries can do that outside of the United States, those companies are going to have a competitive advantage.
Senator, but the problem is, and I just go back to it, what happens if you don't pass the legislation that you're proposing? And we do lose 25, 50 large American companies. Would have you preferred to
Andrew,
do...
we're going to lose more than that.
Would you prefer to do the tourniquet? We may lose more than that. We may.
Yeah, we may. How is the tourniquet going to help? You tell me. We tried this, as you know, already once, and the tourniquet didn't work. Now, look, you know,
what do you mean it didn't work? For 10 years, nobody did it. Right?
No, there's already a tourniquet in place, and that tourniquet in place is the amount that you're allowed to, you know, deduct based on how many, what percentage of shareholders you have.
But for many years, we did not see those type of transactions, right? We made it more complicated for the...
We saw all the facilities move abroad. We saw $2 trillion
We're seeing them right now.
I think part of the problem is it used to be that this was not
over
a
35.
very different tax rate from a lot of different places.
Right.
What's happened is the world around us has changed.
But you could also argue
when Ronald Reagan set that tax rate at 35%, it was below the average. And by the way, that was a long time ago. Joe, Pete Rose was still playing for the Cincinnati Reds when that rate was set. So that's how long ago it was. And every other one of our competitors, all of them, have reformed their tax code since then, except us. Every OECD country has not only lowered their rate, they've gone to a more competitive international system. And we're just sitting on the sidelines thinking, you know, we're America, we'll be fine. We won't be fine unless we get busy making our tax system more competitive. And by the way, it goes to our regulatory system. certainly goes to our healthcare system, where we spend more than anybody else, and yet we have more uninsured. It certainly goes.
Pete Rose will be in the Hall of Fame.
Goes to our exports and our trade system.
Pete Rose will be in the Hall of Fame before this president actually seriously tries to do tax reform. He will.
Well, look, if the president would work with us, and it doesn't take much.
Someone's got to
lead. We're not
lead.
talking about reforming the entire code. We're talking about just dealing with this one issue. I'd love to reform the entire tax code, as I'm sure all of you would. Most businesses are pass-throughs, but we've got to deal with this corporate issue. Otherwise, we will have a hollowing out of America. And Andrew, to your question, if we make companies even less competitive, there will be more foreign takeovers. So you look at what's happened around this country, there have been more foreign takeovers than there have been inversions.
Right.
That will accelerate if companies are less and less competitive.
And it doesn't
targets for foreign takeovers.
It doesn't fix
Why do we want
flight.
that?
Right. It doesn't fix building facilities over there to have a tax over there. It doesn't bring back the $2 trillion, the tourniquet. It doesn't fix any of the stuff. It's, you know.
No, and we've got to repatriate that money. We need it over here.
Right. But it
and
might go to dividends.
Takeovers,
no, it might go to dividends and shareholders.
Well,
and nobody needs that, Rob, and a few jobs, but nobody needs that. Anyway, Senator.
We need investment.
If I told you it didn't go to jobs, what would you do?